How long have you been playing music? This is what you want to do when you grow up, or when you were a kid, you were like, I'm gonna do this when I grow up as a
Exactly.
musician.
Yep, that's exactly how it happened. Just growing up listening to so many different types of music, being exposed to like late 70s, 80s, and 90s music. Um, and also growing up around like different instruments like drums and bongos and guitars and things of that nature. It was just something that was just so attractive to me. And I knew that's what I wanted to be when I grew up. Like, I think if I remember correctly, I think I was about 8 when I made that decision and said, you know what, when I grow up, I'm going to be a singer. That's what I want to be.
I love that. See, and I think at 8 years old, that's when we remember, because that's how. I mean, I came to the States when I was 8 years old, and that's why I remember. I remember more about my being 8 years old than I was, 6 years old. So, because I think 8 years old, that's when anything that happens to you, it has an imprint.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't know what it was that just kicked it off for me. But I remember hearing like um, and seeing like different things, like seeing Kid and Play and seeing bands like Immature and seeing all of this great music by people who look like me. I mean, it was just it just pushed me even more to want to do it because I'm like, wow, if these kids can do it and I'm a kid, I know I can do it. So I just continued to strive and just did as much music as I possibly could. Of course, I started off singing other people's songs, but eventually I started coming up with my own. And my first studio, if I can call it that, was actually a karaoke machine. That was my first studio at like maybe 15, 16 years old. And once I realized that I could record myself, oh, it was over. It was over. I was recording myself on tapes. So I would buy at least 3 tapes, depending on how many harmonies I really wanted to layer, and record on one and then put that one that I recorded on in the karaoke machine, press play, and have a blank one in there and record while that one is playing. So it was kind of like a whole little system. And I lived right behind a concert hall called Bogarts at this time when I was doing all of this recording on my karaoke machine. And I knew, I said, I lived behind a concert hall, and there were bands coming like Nine Inch Nails and Mad Clown Posse. It was crazy, and I'm just like, yo, someone is going to pull up one day, and I'm going to be able to shoot, like shoot my shot. So I need to be ready, and I was ready when my chance came. Yes, I was.
What? Tell me about your chance. Now you gotta tell me
Oh,
about that.
yeah, I'll definitely tell you about that. So, being that I live right behind a concert hall, I could see these tour buses pull up outside of my window. But on this particular day, um, I don't think I was in my bedroom. I think I may have been sitting in the living room with my mom or something. I'm not sure. But my friends had knocked on the door, and when I answered, they were freaking out, like, "Yo, Tech Nine is outside!" And I'm like, "What?" There's like, "There's this tour bus right there," and I'm just like, "Oh shit, this is my shot. This is my chance." So they were like, "Yeah, go shoot your shot." I'm like, "All right, cool, I will." So I close the door, I run upstairs, and I find my tape, which is, I'm telling you, when I say I was ready, I was ready. I had my name written on it, my address, all of that. I was so ready. And I had professional pictures that had been taken by one of my friends' friends. They knew a photographer, and they came over, and they were like, "Hey, pay us like $20. We'll take, some professional photos for you." And they were really good. So I had those photos in my tape, and I waited a little while. I had to muster up a little bit of courage because I was a little scared. I was like 16. And I was like, "Okay, I got this. All right, do it." And I'm looking out my window, and I could see like a crowd of people, and I'm trying to see if I could see Tech Nine. Like, can I see him? Can I see him? No. freak. So I was like, you know what? It's either now or never. You know, you're going to miss your shot if you don't go. I was like, fuck it. So I went. And so I go and I walk up to the tour bus and there's a crowd of people and I have to kind of wait until, you know, they're done talking or whatever. And I think I see Tech Nine go, you know, back on the bus or whatever. I was like, dang. So I approached the bodyguard and I said, hey, I need to speak to the manager. And he was like, who are you? And there's this big guy looking down at this little bitty girl talking about, let me speak to the manager like I'm the boss or something. So the manager comes, and he doesn't come all the way off the bus, and I just tell him like, hey, you know, I'm a singer and I want you to listen to my music. And he's like, come here. So I'm like, yeah. So I'm on the tour bus. We walk to the back. And at that point, I'm nervous as all get out. Like, oh my God, never been on a tour bus before. They got TVs and whatnot. I was like, oh, I don't even know if I walked past Tech Nine or not. I was just so nervous. So we got to the back and there was nobody back there. And they had like speakers and there was like a seat for us to sit down at. It was like really comfortable, kind of dim lighting. And he asked me some questions, what my name was and all that stuff. He pops my tape in. He's looking at my pictures. He's listening to my song. And I think the song was either called My Style or Elevator, one of those two, because that I just felt like those were the greatest songs in the world because I made them up. So, but he's playing my music, and then he said, where do you live? I said, I live right there. I'm like, my house is right there. You see that White House right there? Yeah, my bedroom window is right there. So I get off the tour bus because he's like, I'm gonna give you a call. I'm like, cool. So I get off the tour bus. My friends are like, oh, you're about to be famous. I'm like, yo, stop it. Shut up. So I go in the house and I tell my mom, like, yeah, I just shot my shot and, you know, I might be signed or whatever. Maybe about a week or so later, we move literally 2 streets over, parallel to the street that we were just living on. And no, as a matter of fact, we moved 1 street over parallel to the street that no, 2, I was right. We moved 2 streets over parallel to the street that we were just living on. And one day I went to go visit my neighbors and they said, hey, do you know some people pulled up in a black truck or some black trucks looking for you? I was like, what? Like, are you serious? So I go to the house because they're my neighbors. So they only live like 1 house down. I go to the house. I look in the mailbox. I'm looking for a card or something. There's nothing there. And I just sit on the steps and just cry. I was just like, bro. But that's one of the moments. And I actually explained this in one of the interviews that I had like on Thursday on NFT Art Talk on YouTube. I tell this story. And you know, I tell them like, this is one of the reasons why I continue to keep pushing because I know I have something to offer, you know? So yeah, that's my, my shoot my shot story. The grind is real for real.
So now